comments. It's wonderful. Today I have Sabine Goerke-Shrode, and she is a spirit dancer. I am still ever learning about what that means and what kind of questions I want to ask somebody like this, because my spirit and what I feel that this show has been serving is something higher than what I could have said 7 years ago when I started a podcast. This is so heart centered to me. We're talking about hashtag speaker locking arms. If you've been any of our shows or you have watched it in different platforms, this means to me so much, because this is about no blaming, no shaming. And whatever you feel that you are here on earth with, I want to partner with you. I feel that if we keep partnering, we don't think silo about ourselves and get scared because we can't do everything ourselves. So I want to welcome in Sabine Goerke-Shrode. She has a background of an archaeologist. Maybe we'll talk about traveling today. She has a background in being able to help a lot of people. And she says, I'm tired, and she will still do it. So you're going to have somebody who really has challenged herself in understanding about her stance as a spirit dancer and a person that's there to really serve also. The reason why I've been around Sabina for years is that her infectious voice. So, I mean, I could talk about emotion, infectious, like the emotion about that, but her voice speaks to a lot of how she really shows up and you get to be in a very calming vibe when you're with her. To me, that's everything. And I hope you welcome that too, because the more that we get calm, quiet, listen, all of a sudden we get curious, all of a sudden we realize that we can start receiving more, that we can receive love, that we can also give it out. We stop blaming and shaming ourselves so that we go in deeper and we stop blaming and shaming people. Did you know that was going to be a full circle? Tricky, but it's true. If you're blaming and shaming yourself, I catch myself doing that sometimes. This is what this is about. So let's get into Mindset Matters to Heart. Welcome in Sabine Goerke-Shrode.
Thank you, Rhonda. That was a lovely introduction. Really appreciate you. And I appreciate the many, many, many conversations we have together around that topic, because it's important to both of us. How
Yeah.
do we live, and how do we live better and grow better and vibrate higher than before? And it's an intentional living process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think anybody who talks to me about this hears the word intention a lot.
I know. We were just on your podcast. This is great because you have a podcast. I have a show. We can call it a podcast. But
Yes.
you are really getting out there as a spirit dancer and talking about traveling and talking about these different things. I love it.
Right.
The intentional living and traveling and all that, that really does mean something to you. Can I hold that spot for
Mhm.
you? And can we just talk about that? Because we're talking about mindset matters to heart. Can you give me definition and play around this intentional word and what it really means to you?
Intentional living comes out of working with your mind. And this is where I love the mindset concept, because our minds are talking all the time. There is chatter going on all the time, whether you pay attention or not. And that is really what I've learned along the way, that internal chatter is often very negative.
Mm.
It's very fear-based, it's very judgmental, it's very critical, and it draws me down. So when I do not pay attention to what I think, then I just meander through life going, oh, woe is me, and look at this, and I don't like who, and whatever, all that judgmental thought processing that we do. And I learned a long time ago through a moment where somebody stopped and looked at me and said, you have the most negative mindset I've ever encountered. I keep telling that story. And it stopped me in my tracks, because I realized I was becoming my father, who had exactly that mindset. And he was not a happy man, put it that way. And I just stopped and went, I don't want to be that way. How can I change it? What do I need to do to change it? For me, what came about is a whole lot of books, years of reading, years of being surrounded by other people and learning to think differently and catch my mind. And when it goes, I have to do this. No, you don't have to do this. This person is, no, it's not. It's just a person. It's your opinion that gives you that bias. Constantly monitoring, and it's exhausting in the beginning. Once you get used to it, you start learning to stop yourself, to recognize when your mind goes negative and stop yourself and reframe it. And I know I do a lot of reframing with other people because it's, I don't want to think that way. I don't want you to think that way. You can see things differently. And when we flip things, our thoughts into a positive venue, suddenly you open up a totally different pathway. And that's
Mm,
the exciting part.
that is exciting. And I, the thing I'm starting to recognize, because you're talking about intentional, and you can, as you're doing this work, like
Mhm,
learning to be quiet, learning to catch yourself on things. Because if you're
mhm.
just going and doing and doing, your whole patterns are just like happening. You don't even catch it. And emotions are going all over the place and things like that. I can find now that I'm starting to go down that journey of like, poor me, woe's me kind of thing. And I can catch it, and I can catch it so fast now. I can't catch it before I get to this point, but I can
Yeah.
feel the beginning where my heart is feeling is starting to get wrapped, and then my stomach is starting to get wrapped. Like,
Mhm,
because it's like it's pulling me down. And I started recognizing that, and I go, oh, and so I could feel that. So at
mhm.
that moment, I'm used to going and keep going and going, but I caught it earlier. And so I had this battle, feeling it to, like, it's like a yawn. Do I stop my yawn or do I keep doing my yawn? That's how it felt. So I was like, oh, do I let
Mhm,
myself go down there because it felt so safe and good? Was I happy that I was doing it? No, but I did it. I had that feeling. Do I want to keep going down that? Because it was a pattern that my head and I were saying, my body's used to feeling this. This is okay. But I knew that I was trying to stop the pattern because I knew it wasn't going to get me into another space.
mhm,
That is pretty darn scary when you call yourself out and it's like, "Do you wanna finish your yawn or your stretch?" And you're like, "Oh, yeah, I do." And because it feels good. Well, that feels good, but that other
mhm,
side felt good too, even though I never am
mhm,
happy that I
mhm.
so but I mean, sometimes it's kinda nice, to blame somebody else. So, my question, and I don't know if you've, been asked this question before, and I think it comes up with what I just said about the wrapping, and you can feel it. When you were told, and this is our theme also about mindset matters. Hey, you are really speaking negative. You are the most negative, and how you said that. Did you have bouts where you were starting to catch yourself before you were able to transition to not doing it so much? Because I know our patterns can come back. We're not perfect. So, but can you give us a bit of a journey? I think it's perfect for people that are on this mindset transformation journey. What was your journey like as a spirit dancer? Now you're here to
Mhm.
starting off somebody telling you you're the most negative person. Give me some blips of different things or information around that about your journey.
The universe always provides when you really, really go, "Ah, how do I change something?" And this was one of those moments where it just hit me in the solar plexus. Interestingly, we were at my friend's house at a presentation on a network marketing company, and that was me going, blah, 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 this is network, blah, blah, blah. But it was a network marketing company on leadership materials. An interesting concept. And I had enough trust in my friend to stop myself and say, this is probably bloop, but I cannot see what she sees. She sees something that is beyond me, and I'm giving her the chance. So I am going to join that company, even though it's network marketing, and see what this is all about. I have a curious mindset, fortunately, so I'm giving myself that chance. And what it was is you got a book a month, and it was leadership related books. And there's a whole story behind other than, but it taught me how to recognize my own victim thinking. Oh, woe is me. Because we think victim. It's everybody else's fault that I am not happy right now, or it's everybody else's fault that, I think whatever. I learned to take control of my mindset. I learned that my mindset goes on autopilot if I don't look at it. So it's a process, and I was a member of that group for about 5-6 years. So I read a lot of books. And that shifted how I could think. And it was really training my mind to shift and recognize when I was doing negative thinking. I still do. I still catch myself. Oh, this is judgmental. You might want to reframe this, or oh, if you go down that that path, you're really going to be an unhappy person. But now I can ask myself, how can I shift it? Because I recognize it. And it took a long time to do that. So I'm glad I had that opportunity, and I'm eternally grateful to my friend, to that company, and that I had the guts to step in, even though I doubted. And
I find, Sabina, I find that we're having great conversations, about this stuff, and it just seems so easy when you're speaking about it. But I, you're already bringing up a tool around reading too, but also this is going to be, I'm going to call it a tool because I call everything a tool that helps with the transformation. But you were in the space, like the mental tool of like, I'm going to reach out when somebody is saying something that is helping me grow. And instead of you deflecting and just totally turning things off and not helping yourself move forward, like what you said, the universe is there, supporting you, because right then and there, somehow she got some kind of download to say, stop Sabina right now. She needs to be here. This is going to help her move
I
forward.
asked the question. I had that real, as I said, solar plexus one. How can I change this? And the universe pointed behind me and said, there is a network marketing company doing leadership. Why don't you just join? I mean, it was that moment. I got that nudge of, and when you really get these kind of moments where something stops you in your track, and you get this, oh my God, this is really serious. And if you then ask how, you will get something. You still have to make the decision to take it. That's your choice. Mindset. Nothing is given to you, but the opportunity will come along. And if you are serious about it, you will recognize it.
I noticed that you will, if that pivotal point kind of has to hurt.
Yeah.
So when I'm making changes, or I think I am, I'm starting to ask myself that question. I've been doing that lately. Is this pain that just hit me and I just recognize something? Is that strong enough? I'm gonna go like my mind's going like, is that strong enough to be able, to make that transformation? Like, Rhonda, are you really listening to this? Why are you still acting numb? Why are you not feeling that pain? You know you can feel the pain in the background. You know that there's a little tummy ache that started happening, but you're trying to ignore it. Can you go into that pain just so like there's like this thing that you start questioning yourself of, am I being authentically true to what I'm actually saying? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna make that change. It's like, I just said that too casually. I don't think it's gonna happen. And doing that,
And the next
you have
question,
to say about
am
this.
I willing to commit to do this consistently? we all have our moments in life where we want something and we start playing with the idea, but am I actually willing to commit? And the
I think
pain,
that pain pivots you faster
yeah, the
because,
pain has to be really big.
yeah, yeah. So
And
let's talk more about that. Let's talk
mm,
more about
yeah.
the spirit dancer and the mindset transformation kind of mindset matters. Let's
Mhm,
go in there. Let's go in about where you want to describe or be in this space of you finally claiming that you were a spirit dancer and then getting into the steps of talking to people and claiming it more because you felt it before that term really kind of clung and you felt it on you like this
mhm.
is it. But can you talk about some of that transformation of the awareness of you're right, that's kind of getting me into alignment and with the transformation that really you've been working through and worked through to get to where you are right now?
Well, it was a long journey. It took years. It was a shifting myself first in being able to recognize it, to see what I was doing when I went into the negative mindset and how that made me feel. And it didn't make me feel happy. And then I started energy work that came parallel to that or later. And the network company was not happy because energy work was woo woo.
Oh,
So but it made me realize how vibration feels, how energy feels, how good energy feels. And that in turn shifted me to be able to say, this is how I want to be. This is how I want to feel, how I want to be. And I want to be that light worker person that shifts other people. So again, from accidental to intentional. And I remember I worked for government before I retired, and government workers have a very negative mindset because it's a tough job. Nobody loves you, and it's a very specific way of thinking. And I remember going in every morning and thinking, I want to spread light. I want people to feel good. I want vibrations to raise. And then I did that intentionally. Again, it's intentional work, shifting vibrations, listening to somebody talk and reframing them. You can also see it this way. Having a big smile, saying good morning to everybody. Smile at people. Smile at people. It's the easiest way to shift anybody. And to do that intentionally. And I got feedback, unintentional feedback. I love that the one woman commented that she said, we're sitting in this dark corner, she said, and every time you come by, it is as if light came into the room. She told me that, and I'm like, yes, that's what I'm doing. You just don't realize it. But I'm doing this because I want to. And that was where I realized I can do this work intentionally. I can be the energy shifter. And I call myself an energy shifter because I want to shift energies in a room, in a person, so that they can feel the higher vibration and feel better about themselves. And that is mindset work. That's the foundation. It always is the foundation. You work with your mindset. If you know how to control is the wrong word, but how to shift it, how to work at it when it goes off kilter, then you can work, then spread that to other people. So it's a progression.
mhm. Where do you see as you're going out there? We were in your podcast talking
Mhm,
about traveling and
mhm,
past lives and getting people in alignment with, like where they want to travel. And so we're talking about not just being here in the US, but I mean, going to like the older, like the original places and stuff. What is it for you in your work that you can see when you're out there traveling, just like a vision you see of your work? And since we're with the Fresh Talks Global Vision,
Mhm.
it's like what your vision is out there for you and how you are wanting to see change and how this shows up for you and what you want to do in your future.
It's how I share when I travel. I Facebook post. Yes, it looks historical, but there is a lot of different viewpoints in there, and I love how people respond to that
Mhm.
and how it influences them. It's one way. I love just talking to people, and sometimes, not always, but sometimes you connect on that soul level and you have this amazing, meaningful conversation for half an hour with a person you've never met before, will never meet again, but you make a difference both ways. There's always a give and take in a conversation. It's not me teaching something, it's us sharing something. And I love when I do that. And again, I set myself up to do that intentionally. I look for those moments. And e especially when you travel and you travel with intention, with a specific topic, you meet a lot of people who are interested in that same topic. That was one of the things I encountered on my trip through Wales, last month. And I was looking at a specific time period and a specific set of people, and I met a lot of people, and we had these amazing expert discussions for an hour about something where everybody else around us just looked there and rolled their eyes, and we're just going on like, da, 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 and did you know, and have you read, and feeds your soul both ways. And that's what it's all about. You feed your soul, you feed somebody else's soul, and together your vibrations just rise. And that's what we want in the world. This is a challenging world right now, and a lot of people are not happy. If we can bring even small changes, small vibrations of feeling good about yourself, feeling good about the other person, that makes a difference. That's the work.
I
So
feel that
yeah.
the connection
Mhm.
is what I feel that we're learning to have more of.
Yeah.
And the way that you were feeling, like I've
Mhm.
never even met these people before, but I think of like, that you
Mhm.
were brought together, that energy
Mhm.
where it's like, oh yeah, we're supposed to be. I'm curious all
Right.
the time. Like,
Yeah.
why are we on this conversation? Or
Right. It's even small stuff. How many times in a day when you move through do you thank somebody? Compliment them on something, not just the closing, that's always so easy, but about who they are as a person. Appreciate their service to you and give that back. Don't
mm,
just take it. Say thank you to the cashier at the grocery store and give them a smile. Appreciate that they're standing there with an aching back and mention that. You- See the person. See the person. Don't just see a position. And that is the small, in, intentional spreading light work that you can do. And it's easy, but it brings change into the world.
spreading light work. I
Mhm.
love that.
Yeah.
Helping people feel lighter, helping people feel maybe something different because they were not feeling
Mhm.
maybe all that they wanted to for the
Mhm.
day, or they
Yeah.
were in their cycle
Right.
and they didn't know that it was a cycle. They just are, I'm in this
Mhm.
emotion and
Mhm.
it's pulling them down.
Right.
So no matter what, you just never know where somebody's coming from. I love this
Right.
experience that you are
Right.
sharing and how to give back to people.
And then you get it back because they start to get to know you because
Yeah.
you are becoming a person because you see that other person as a person. So instead of a perfunctory smile, you get the real smile. Or you start the conversations. I'm thinking of my Trader Joe's. and so many of the workers change out constantly, but there are a few that I've known for years now, and we are within in the store. We are friends because I stopped to talk to them. We've had conversations. We smile at each other. We see each other as a person, and I love that because it makes it personal to me, but it also spreads that little well-being to them in a tough day when a lot of customers just come by and go "Brr, brr, 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 brr,"
Yeah, anybody that's worked in the
in retail.
service industry,
Yeah.
you know that there's people
Environment.
that aren't in alignment and they can be pretty
Mhm.
harsh.
Right.
I'm enjoying this conversation, Sabina. Yeah, you're going to be in our show tomorrow too, which is so incredible.
I
Fresh
hope.
Talks Global Vision.
Okay.
So I love it. And
Mhm.
the things that you brought up are like the chatter in the brain, and we had great conversation about that.
Mhm.
Discovering that, and you out there that's watching this, has anybody ever tried to tell you that you're negative and maybe you weren't ready to hear it? But if you heard it now, what do you think? It's a wonderful thing to be called out on
Yeah.
your stuff.
Mhm.
We talked about when going down the rabbit hole, like stopping yourself and learning that you're falling into a trap that your mind has been putting you in. So that conversation, Sabine, I thought was quite interesting. That really we're not really our emotion. I loved how we were going down there. Your story about the solar plex, that you just could feel like that hit. It's like,
Mhm.
"B- listen," you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then transition from casually saying, that you are doing this type, you're a light worker, to really now claiming it, starting a podcast. I think
Mhm.
this inspires our viewers to know that, hey, anything that you want, anytime you want to make that shift, there's going to be some discomfort. Thank you so much, Sabina, for being here.
Thank
I
you. Thank
appreciate
you
your
for
time.
having. Yes.
Anything else you want to say, my friend, before we finish off this
It's
time with you?
I enjoyed myself. I hope you did, and anybody who hears it does too, because this we need that kind of encouragement all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I do my
Mhm.
stuff, manage things, try
Mhm.
new things, always experiencing.
Yeah.
But if we don't do all this together, then we can't get ourselves out of the rabbit hole at times.
Exactly.
Because when there's those big things, we're asking those bigger questions, it's really nice to have a coach, a mentor, best friend that purely is there to listen and not try and fix it. That's so fabulous. So
Yes.
thank you for your time. Thank you for being part of this Mindset Matters to Heart. I feel like my heart has grown in this conversation, which could be an uncomfortable conversation. We're talking about shifting and changing and being called out on things and
Mhm.
leaning in, when if you're really in the ego, might be hard to do. No judgment on that, but learning your journey and the layers of how you can really be cohesive with the brain and the
Right.
heart, and have such beautiful new update software in your head, something that just is not from things that you had
Mhm.
imprints. I've been
Mhm.
talking a lot about this because we've been talking a lot about mindset, but I don't want to go out there blaming anybody, but it's the imprints that happen when you were younger, and we're just building and building upon that. But
Mhm.
those soft tissues that fire between pictures to emotion and all
Mhm.
that, the way our body interacts with that, this is what my journey is with this Mindset Matters series. It's been incredible to talk
Mhm.
about the brain, and where can we go with this, and a lot of tools. You gave some great tools, Sabina. Thank you for showing up, my friend.
Thank you.
Love everybody. Remember, we are hashtag speaker locking arms. I'm on this humanity project. And if you want to know more about that, I can envision being in the Golden Gate Park, having a full day with people from all different places. It's going to start the size, whatever it is, in 5 years. And I'm thinking I want to claim the number. There's going to be 1,000 people there, or there's going to be 10 people there, things like that. But I want to start claiming that because it's starting to feel it. And the Mindset Matters series has
Mhm.
really helped me connect with people, see them, and consistently have this conversation so I can be with it. because this to me is why this is the big view from being in Venice last year and getting this feeling, even
Mhm.
touching the ground when I thought I couldn't walk anymore because I was so exhausted. It was over 100 degrees and my whole family was tired. I sat down on the grass and I did a little bit of yoga moves, put my hands on the grass. I felt like a young chickling. And I said, this is my place, and
Mhm.
some other things that came to me. So
Mhm.
you're helping me by watching and sharing and being in these interviews or hashtag speaker locking